Ultimately, the goal of this game is instantly reduce negative emotion. The way you do that is because look at the right brain. You know what? I need to explain this game. Long story short, I'm trying to activate. I'm trying to create left dorsolateral activation. Okay. Left dorsolateral activation requires dopamine. Left ACC activation requires endorphins, and left 5-HT2A activation requires serotonin. So if we figure out how to manage the balance between the serotonin, dopamine, and endorphin system together, should work. How to do that? Simple. The serotonin is the nature and the story and the books, and having a story that is relatable to the character, the audience, makes it feel like feelings are validated or relatable. Something like that. Something that something that makes the experience feel relevant to me, right? Second of all, what I need is okay, now that the experience feels relevant to me, why do I keep going? Goal, left dorsolateral game, winning, losing, progress. Good. Now, after I've achieved it, what makes me want to stay here? What makes me want to come back? Well, I need endorphins. How do we get endorphins? By creating really good music. So, three things: endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, music, goal. I don't know how to say it other than the relatableness. I don't know how to say it. So, solution to that is this, or at least an attempt at a solution. No, so I'll say this right here. Start off nature. Okay, nature, animals, serotonin. Fine. Okay. In general, if you're playing a video game, you're already going to be sitting at home. You're already going to be high in serotonin. Taking the goal, simple. Time limit, level. I know that especially if you're a gamer, if you don't even need to be a gamer, you just logic, right? Okay, blue level, I want more level, right? Red, timer going down, I don't want to lose. I will say maybe I have to make the goal a bit more clear. Me testing it is a bit obvious. It's like, okay, I'm a hunter, I hunt, right? The idea is that I would have some lore at the beginning, and the lore would be it has to be a brief story, something that's not boring. It really has to be a story that calls out the player individually, and it has to make you feel like, whoa, this story, or at least this information that I'm consuming, is actually about me. If it's about me, it means it's relevant. If it's relevant, I'm curious, right? Good. Human beings are only curious to what is relevant to them. So first we need a story that is captivating and relatable and relevant to everyone. My solution was a story about human evolution. Human evolution is literally the history of every single person. It's the combination of history, science, everything that you need to know about everything. Think about it, if you really had like an educational system and you just taught evolution, you would teach everything about everything there's to know. If you teach about evolution, you're going to be teaching about history and how human beings came to be. If you teach about evolution, you're also going to need to know the scientific understanding of how the world was created. I don't see a single academic discipline that escapes those two things. I think that's like a fundamental from where everything's birthed, and then after that, people go into their specializations. For example, some people they might want to be a doctor. I'm trying to get this pig thing. It's stuck. Something else I interface with AI systems is a bit too. Sometimes it's really good though. You can avoid obstacles, get stuck, find a different path. Sometimes it's just stupid, which understandable. I almost feel like this AI system should just stay the same, and then every time I add a new animal, make the animal more complicated, improve the AI. That way it actually goes in order of difficulty per level. Something like that, I'm not 100% sure. Okay. Where was I? Serotonin, 5-HT2A activation with a relatable story. Okay. Interesting. Now that we have the 5-HT2A activation with a relatable story, because evolution is relatable to everyone, right? If I'm watching a video, about human evolution, I'm not watching a video that is unique to me, right? It's collective. It's the ancestor that common to everyone, but also different than other animals. Which I think is very, very important, especially in the age of AI, when people are asking the question, what it means to be human. I think it's nice to have a creative story that sort of shows you like By the way, if ever you're wondering, this is where the human body comes from. This is where the human mind comes from. Okay, hold up. Something's wrong with that display. Okay, fine. Let me just go back to this. So we have. Let's see. Look, I was just gonna show a video about human evolution, but whatever. Okay, you get the point. The point is, story relatable to everyone. On that note, it's not so much just about evolution, but it's evolution on a masculine perspective and on a feminine perspective. That way, I can have a more easily relatable figure, I guess. Because if I'm just looking at a human being, okay, relatable to everyone, kind of makes relatable to no one. But if I'm looking at the evolution of men, then I, as a man, see that and I'm like, oh, evolution of men, I'm a man, that's me. If I see evolution of women, and I'm a woman, I'm like, oh wow, see, this story is about women, I'm a woman, right? I'll put that both in the same story, right? I have one story. Part of the story is like core theme of masculinity, core theme of femininity, and also it means that the gender that you are, you relate to that, and the gender that isn't you, you can learn from it, right? So if I'm a man, I read the masculine perspective and I find it relatable. I read the feminine perspective and I find it interesting. Probably the same thing with women. I'm not 100% sure. I can't uh, confirm because I'm not a woman. I have to ask them, and even then, I have to believe what they say to me, which only represents the woman that I ask and not the entirety of everyone. But basically boils down to if women don't understand men, I would assume they'd be curious about them, especially if they are afraid of them. Because I think women who are afraid of dangerous men, they probably end up watching horror movies or crime shows because they want to get into that mind and understand the danger. You know what I mean? So it's both, right? The women understand the dangers from the men understand how to please women. Something along those lines. That's how to make it captivating. I think it's gonna make it captivating, especially if the target audience is teenagers. That's where all the hormones are running. That's where all the gaming happens, and that's also where you're at the age where you have money to spend on little things that are cheap, but you can't buy a lot. Like you're also impulsive, so it's easier for me to convince you to buy a video game than it is for me to convince you that I can solve one of your problems. Because how do you even know that I'm going to be able to solve your problem, right? Maybe you would have been better at having someone else solve your problem. But it's entertainment. It's like you can afford to lose, right? I can afford to watch something, have it not be interesting, be like, oh, I lost time. It's a game that's like $5 or something. I don't think people are going to really stress about that. Like, I think people are going to complain about the economy, groceries, blah, blah, but $5 for a game, I ain't asking for much, okay? $5 per game, $1,000 $5,000 revenue, 70% of it keeps to me, 70% of 50. 70% of 50. Where's my calculator? I don't know what's wrong with my screen. Anyways, so that's the story. Serotonin, relatable to everyone. Cool, interesting. Now, actually get into the game. What do I do? Simple. Left dorsolateral, hunting, leveling up. Basically. And then lastly, I really hope that the sound is coming out, but there's also the music, which then creates sort of. It's not exactly a rush of endorphins, but there's something about music that is endorphin. Problem is that the endorphins only happen if it's music that I like. I don't know what kind of music everyone likes. And so, if we combine those three elements, it's music, goal, people. No, not goal. It's more like improvement and leveling up. So it's basically how do I make this music? How do I keep improving the music in a way that's better for everyone while removing bugs in this game and removing things that get in the way of that experience? How about this pick to get out? Come on, bro, you can make it. Okay, I'm gonna go chase someone else. There's supposed to be collision detection. Don't know why it's not working now. Why is it not working actually? It's self-explanatory. kind of a contrast to like the high stimulation period before versus now. This is what you call like, I guess, reward. I know, you might be wondering, okay, where the fruits came from. Well, I'm just gonna create lore that it came from the tree, we all fell. I don't care. It's more about the experience to the player than the logic. Or the story, like, I think everybody cares. Like, if you want things to make sense, go work or in the real world. I mean, if you're playing a game, it's because you want to escape, and you're like, yeah, I've been using my frontal lobe all day. Let me focus on the basic contents for a little bit. That makes sense. Does anything I even say make sense? Who knows? I think I say it's true, but it makes sense to one that's reading this. I like that. I really, really do. The music, the nature, the forward movement, with combined with like almost reward prediction error, but not exactly. And this is the part that really is interesting. This is all a demo, of course, but 100%. What happens now? What do I do now? Wait, no, something's wrong. Something was supposed to happen there. I was supposed to go to level 3 and gain the ability to fly, but first person.